All right, let's change tack and have a look at another story that's here on the continent. The United Nations says at least 40 people have been killed in recent violence. Now, we're focusing in on Venezuela now, with hundreds, if not thousands, detained by the country's security apparatus. This comes as the United States, joined by several regional states, recognized the opposition leader of the National Assembly as interim president, labeling President Nicolas Maduro illegitimate following last May's disputed election and his inauguration for a second term earlier this month. Now, while Russia, China, as well as us, South Africa, continue to back the Maduro government, Washington imposed sweeping new sanctions on the Venezuelan state-owned oil company, the toughest financial punitive measures so far against Maduro.
January 23rd, the day opposition leader Juan Guaido declared himself interim president, hundreds were detained, while dozens have died over the course of the political standoff currently gripping the country.
In total, I think we have just over 40 people believed to have been killed in different manners so far. This includes at least 26 people reported to have died after allegedly being shot by security forces or members of pro-government armed groups during the demonstrations between the 22nd and the 25th of January. At least 5 additional people also allegedly killed by security forces during illegal house raids in poor neighborhoods. These raids usually take place a few hours after the protests take place in those same neighborhoods.
The United Nations says it believes at least 850 people were detained between the 21st and 26th of January, which includes some 77 children, some as young as 12 years old. The world body, meanwhile, is also considering a letter sent by Juan Guaido requesting urgent humanitarian assistance for the country, including food and medicine, as concerns of high levels of violence continue to grow, while over 3 million Venezuelans have fled the country due to dire economic conditions. In Washington, more economic pressure to tighten the financial screws on Maduro.
Treasury took action against Venezuela's state-owned oil company, PDVSA, to help prevent the further diversion of Venezuela's assets by former President Maduro. The United States is holding accountable those responsible for Venezuela's tragic decline. We will continue to use all of our diplomatic and economic tools to support Interim President Guaido, the National Assembly, and the Venezuelan people's efforts to restore their democracy.
I call on all responsible nations to recognize Interim President Guaido immediately. Maduro has made clear he will not recognize Guaido or call for new elections. Now is the time to stand for democracy and prosperity in Venezuela. I reiterate that the United States will hold Venezuelan security forces responsible for the safety of all U.S. diplomatic personnel, the National Assembly, and President Guaido. Any violence against these groups would signify a grave assault on the rule of law and will be met with a significant response.
Russia has warned that the new sanctions violate international law and has labelled the US moves a blatant attempt at regime change in a sovereign state. South Africa, for its part, has expressed itself against any attempts at undue or unconstitutional change of government in Venezuela. Sherwin Bryce-Pease, SABC News, New York.